I want to share with you everything you need to know about hair health and hair loss, and I promise this will be comprehensive and truly helpful. We're going to explore what causes women to lose their hair, how medications affect this process, which minerals are absolutely essential for preventing hair loss, and I'll tell you about two extraordinary natural remedies that can make a significant difference. Hair loss in women is more common than you might think, and for many, it becomes a source of tremendous stress and diminished self-confidence. Unlike men, where baldness often follows a predictable genetic pattern, women experience hair loss differently. It tends to be diffuse, spreading across the scalp, rather than in distinct patterns, and it often goes unnoticed in the early stages. The causes are complex and varied, which is why understanding them is so important. Tell me your age and country in the comments so we can support each other through these hidden changes. And stay with me because the final part of this video reveals the one simple adjustment that helps your body handle this transformation. Before we dive into causes and solutions, let's talk about what normal hair loss actually looks like and understand the phases of hair growth. This foundation will help you recognize when something is truly wrong. Hair loss is one of the most common concerns women face. And while it might seem sudden when you first notice it, the process has usually been happening in your body for months before the visible signs appear. To understand when hair loss is normal versus when it signals a problem, you need to know about the natural cycle of hair growth and how hair follicles work. Every single hair on your body goes through several clearly defined phases, and these cycles aren't synchronized. Different hairs are in different phases at any given time, which is why we never lose all our hair at once. The cycle consists of three key phases. The first is called the anagen phase or the growth phase. This is when your hair is actively growing, and this phase lasts anywhere from 2 to 6 years. The longer your anagen phase, the longer your hair can potentially grow. In a healthy scalp, about 80 to 90% of all your hair is in this phase at any given moment. During the anagen phase, your hair follicle is incredibly metabolically active. The cells in the hair matrix are dividing rapidly, the hair shaft is being formed, and the follicle is deeply rooted in your skin and well supplied with blood. How long your anagen phase lasts depends on several factors, including your genetics, your hormonal health, your nutrition, and the blood circulation to your scalp. When the anagen phase gets shortened, your hair becomes shorter, thinner, and weaker. The second phase is the catagen phase, which is relatively brief, lasting only about 2 to 3 weeks. During this transitional period, your hair stops growing and the follicle begins to shrink and separate from the blood vessel that has been feeding it. This phase is essentially preparation for the follicle to enter its resting state. Only about 1 to 2% of your hair is in this phase at any time. The third phase is the telogen phase, which is the resting and shedding phase. This lasts approximately 2 to 4 months. So to summarize, the first phase lasts 2 to 6 years, the second lasts just a few weeks, and the third lasts 2 to 4 months. Now, many of you wonder what's actually normal when it comes to daily hair loss. This is actually quite simple to understand. It's completely normal to lose 50 to 100 hairs every single day. These hairs are then replaced by new ones growing in. Anything over 100 hairs falling out daily is a warning sign that something might be wrong. We can say that a problem exists when daily loss exceeds 100 hairs and when your hair becomes visibly thinned, weak, brittle, and lifeless over time. In these cases, the hair growth cycle has been disrupted, most commonly because too many hairs are entering the telogen phase prematurely while the anagen phase is shortening. So when should you actually worry? Hair loss becomes a real concern when certain signs appear. First, when you can see more of your scalp than before. Second, when you experience sudden loss of hair volume in a short period. Third, when your hair breaks and snaps before it reaches the length it once did. Fourth, when you find much more hair on your pillow, in the shower drain, or on your brush than you used to. Fifth, when your hair is thinning, not just falling out. And sixth, when you notice circular areas without any hair at all. Hair loss that continues for longer than 3 months without any signs of improvement definitely indicates that there's a problem that needs addressing. Now let's talk about the main causes of hair loss in women, starting with hormonal changes. Hormones play an absolutely critical role in regulating hair growth and the hair cycle. Changes in hormonal balance frequently lead to hair loss. During pregnancy and the postpartum period, elevated estrogen levels prolong the anagen phase, which is why pregnant women often have thicker, shinier hair. However, a few weeks to months after giving birth, there's a sudden drop in estrogen. This hormonal crash can cause what's called postpartum telogen effluvium, a condition where a large number of hairs enter the resting phase and fall out. For most women, this loss is temporary and hair returns to normal within 6 to 12 months. However, the intensity of the loss can be significant and cause considerable psychological stress, which unfortunately can worsen the condition. One of the biggest reasons women lose their hair is hormonal changes during perimenopause, menopause, and postmenopause. This marks a major turning point in women's health. During this phase, two key hormones, estrogen and progesterone, are significantly reduced. Studies have shown that after menopause, these hormones can fall by as much as 95% compared to premenopausal levels, which is a key factor in hair loss. In women going through menopause and perimenopause, hair loss is typically diffuse, primarily affecting the top of the head and scalp, and the hair becomes thinner and more fragile. These hormonal changes can also affect the structure of the hair and follicles themselves, leading to slower growth and increased breakage. Another hormonal problem is polycystic ovary syndrome, an endocrine disorder affecting women of reproductive age. Excess androgen hormones, which are male sex hormones, can cause a male pattern of hair loss, meaning the hair becomes thinner on the scalp while eyebrows and other body hair may remain unchanged. In addition to hair loss, this syndrome often includes acne, weight gain, irregular menstruation, and insulin resistance. Genetic predisposition is another cause of hair loss that's generally the least influenced by our actions. Just as men often lose hair due to genetic factors, women increasingly experience genetically driven hair loss in our modern era. Next, we need to talk about something very important that you can definitely influence, and that's stress. Stress is one of the most powerful yet most underestimated causes of hair loss in women. Although many people don't associate stress with hair, it directly affects the hormone cortisol and impacts your nervous system, blood vessels, and immunity, all of which are needed for follicles to grow normally. When stress levels remain elevated for extended periods, your body enters a fight-or-flight state that negatively affects hair growth. Hair follicles become more sensitive, weak, and can completely stop functioning while your body is under stress. How do you recognize that stress is causing your hair loss? Watch for these signs: hair suddenly falling out 2 to 3 months after a stressful event, thinning hair across your entire scalp, increased scalp sensitivity, hair loss when washing or combing, and changes in sleep quality are signs of hormonal imbalance. It's crucial to understand that significant stress can absolutely cause hair loss. Another critically important factor when thinking about hair loss is poor diet and chronic lack of essential minerals, vitamins, and other nutrients that play key roles in the hair growth phase. Chronic nutrient deficiency over a long period most often happens when you eat poor quality food for years, leaving your body lacking essential minerals and vitamins. This can be one of the main reasons for hair loss. And if this is your situation, you can solve the problem relatively easily and quickly. Let me tell you what else affects hair loss, especially in women over 50. The daily consumption of chemical synthetic drugs is a major factor. Hair loss can be a consequence of certain medications, as well as numerous chronic diseases that disrupt hormonal balance, circulation, immunity, or metabolism. In many cases, the problem isn't in the hair itself, but in the state of the organism. Chemotherapy destroys rapidly dividing cells, including hair follicle cells. In most cases, hair grows back 2 to 4 months after chemotherapy ends, sometimes even thicker but with a different texture. Beta blockers and anticoagulants, which are blood pressure medications and blood thinners, are another concern. A large number of women, especially after age 50, have been taking high blood pressure medications and blood thinners for years, some even for decades. We know today that when you take these types of medications for extended periods, one consequence is hair loss. Contraceptives and hormonal therapy also cause hair loss. This should be easy to understand. Anything that affects your hormones, whether it's hormonal replacement therapy or birth control pills, disrupts your body's hormonal function. The more you take, the greater the potential for problems, and one of these problems is hair loss. A large number of diseases also play key roles in hair loss. First and foremost, thyroid disease. The thyroid gland manages cell metabolism, including hair follicle metabolism. Slow thyroid function causes dry skin, hair, brittle hair, diffuse thinning, and slow follicle renewal. Meanwhile, accelerated thyroid function causes follicle weakening due to accelerated metabolism and diffuse hair loss, especially affecting eyebrows. When we talk about diseases, thyroid problems are significant, but another issue many don't know about is diabetes and insulin resistance. People with diabetes have a much higher risk of developing hair loss. There are also genetic disorders that cause hair loss, such as alopecia areata, which creates circular smooth bald patches on the head. Lupus can cause permanent damage to follicles if scarring occurs, and psoriasis or dermatitis, where chronic inflammation affects hair follicles, are also important to mention. Now I'm going to tell you which minerals play key roles in hair health. If any of these minerals are lacking in your body, you have a significant risk of hair loss, and many people aren't even aware of this. When we replenish these minerals, hair can grow back better and thicker. The first mineral you really need is zinc. Zinc is an essence. Teal mineral involved in more than 300 enzyme-catalyzed processes in the body. It's especially important for hair because it supports the growth and renewal of hair follicles. It strengthens immunity, which reduces inflammatory processes that can damage follicles, participates in the synthesis of keratin, the main structural protein of hair, and helps regulate hormones, especially androgens, whose imbalance can cause hair loss. The recommended daily dose is 50 to 100 milligrams of zinc per day. The second key mineral is copper. Copper participates in the synthesis of melanin, the hair pigment, and helps preserve natural hair color. It works together with zinc on keratin metabolism and hair growth, and supports the formation of collagen and elastin, which contributes to skin elasticity. For adult women, the recommended daily dose of copper is 2 to 3 milligrams per day. The third important mineral is silicon. Silicon is involved in the synthesis of collagen and keratin, increases the elasticity and strength of hair, reduces breakage, and contributes to the recovery of the hair shaft and follicles. These three minerals, zinc, copper, and silicon,